Welcome to my Captain America Brave New World spoiler discussion. I'm going to go into a little bit of the plot here with Brave New World. If you have not seen the film, go check it out, then come back and check out the spoiler talk so you kind of know what I'm talking about and you have context. I know that many of you don't care about spoilers. I've seen some of the comments where, of all the Captain America movies, this one was probably the least hyped. I would say a lot of people just aren't really into what they've been doing and what they've been hearing about this movie. So there's probably going to be some people in here who have not seen the movie and don't really care for the spoilers. And to be honest, unlike with Cobra Kai, which is something I think you have to experience without spoilers, I understand not caring. I actually get it because, this movie does have a lot of flaws. Now, I outlined a lot of the flaws in my non spoiler review. So I would recommend, even if you have seen the film or if you don't care about spoilers, to check that out because I go into a bit more of a technical type of breakdown when it comes to editing and when it comes to the reshoot and how obvious it was that some actors weren't even in the same room when they were shooting, things like that. Very awkward stuff. So check that out. But my spoilerific talk here is going to mostly be centered around some issues that I had spoiler wise. First of all, the story of the leader being the villain in this movie, part of me is mixed on this because part of me thinks, okay, this is as good as they're going to be able to get to the comic book version without making it too outlandish, like MODOK was in Ant-Man. But this really felt like something from Secret Invasion. You know what I mean? Every time I saw him on screen, I kept thinking about the Skrulls in Secret Invasion, and I thought that it was distracting. The action sequences with Anthony Mackie, I thought were well done. The big sequence in the middle of the movie that should have been the third act, at the end of the second act, which was the battle near Tiamat, where the Japanese planes are being attacked by American planes that are being controlled by the leader, and then Sam and the new Falcon have to go in there to stop it. I thought that was a great sequence. I feel like that maybe should have been the last sequence of the movie, but I think they probably felt like having two comic book characters fighting in the last sequence is bigger than that. But I'm not sure if that really worked here. And the reason as to why I say that is because, like I said in my non-spoiler, they gave away Red Hulk. It wasn't just that they gave away Red Hulk entirely. They gave away a lot of scenes. There were scenes in the trailer, by the way, I didn't make the movie, but yeah, there was a lot of stuff with Red Hulk that just did not make it into the movie, and stuff that was in the movie. And like I said in my non-spoiler, it's being built up like a big twist, like the leader's big master plan to get back at Ross for what he did in the past is to turn him into Red Hulk and sort of make him this threat to humanity. And the logic behind the plan, I get it, but that should not have been spoiled. But I also feel like they felt that if they didn't spoil the Red Hulk, that people would not have gone to go see this movie. And it's not even doing that well as far as we know. It's just not. Like, Marvel is still trying to dig themselves out of this hole that they've created for phase 4 and 5. Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine worked because you've got two guys who are super big fan favorites and, represent not even the Disney Marvel stuff, they represent the Fox era. And that movie had a lot of repeat viewing because it was just a good time, just a fun time. I feel like, and again, only my opinion, I feel like this movie had its fun moments, but it just felt very poorly stitched together. I actually do think that Anthony Mackie could be a leading guy. I know that's a lot of there's controversy because some don't think he can be. Some don't think he has the charisma to be. I actually think he does have the charisma. I'm just not sure if Anthony Mackie playing the Falcon slash the new Captain America is where he'll be a leading guy. Maybe he needs his own franchise, like maybe his own like John Wick type of action franchise, like similar to John Wick, something like that, like Taken. I think he would do well in a film like that because we saw like some of his acting chops here, and he's good. I mean, he's genuinely a good actor. The big twist near the end, I guess it's kind of a twist. The reveal of Liv Tyler coming back to play Betsy was pleasant. The way they kind of wrote around William Hurt's death about how Harrison Ford, he's not playing Thunderbolt Ross, saying that, oh, I got rid of the mustache to win the election. It was all right. It was just, it's funny because Edward Norton was playing Bruce Banner, and then of course Mark Ruffalo took over, and they kind of made a joke about that in She-Hulk. These recastings. Are they going to do that for Doctor Doom with Robert Downey? I don't know. I hope not. But yeah, that was a recurring thing. So in the non-spoiler, I talked about how they borrowed a plot element from Winter Soldier and Civil War, and that's the whole Manchurian Candidate thing. Now, it's a little bit different here, but it's a similar idea. In case you don't know what that means, the Manchurian Candidate is basically a soldier or somebody, it doesn't have to be a soldier, who has been programmed to execute an order, brainwashed and programmed to execute an order with a certain password. So basically, if you look into it, there's a movie about it and several documentaries because there's talk that the military actually tried to figure this out and may have actually succeeded. You got to look into it. But the idea is that if you can get a regular person and you brainwash them with certain techniques, then you can call them on the phone and say a word like Excelsior or something, and they'll snap and like kill someone, right? Like that's something that they're doing here, specifically with Bradley. Like that was the big sort of character that had to suffer through it. It was good to see Isaiah Bradley back. Carl Lumbly, brought the emotion, the familiarity. He really does act as a father figure for Sam, and I actually hope that he sticks around. Also, I loved, even though it was only for a very brief time and one scene, I loved the Bucky cameo. I really did like that. I like how it tied back in. It tied back in well, I felt. They really did try to tie things back to The Incredible Hulk and the movie acting as a sequel to that. And I think they could have done it. It's just that the reshoots and the constant changes, you needed to have somebody come in here and write a good script and write a strong story and have the right director. And again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the folks who made this movie. It's just the potential to kind of follow up the Incredible Hulk with this and what the leader does and the backstory between the leader and Thunderbolt Ross. We find out in the movie that Thunderbolt Ross was sick and used Stern, which is the leader, Samuel Stern, to try to figure out a way to help him live longer for his daughter. And this would lead to him taking these pills, and the pills had a little bit of gamma radiation inside of them, which led to Ross eventually snapping and becoming the Red Hulk. So, and that became the climax of the movie. This is one of those movies where the idea of what they wanted to do was fine. The execution needed help. It really did. There were weird green screen shots. There's a couple of shots of Sam and the leader that they're not even in the same frame, and there's rumors that they weren't even together on set for that, because I remember hearing that the leader's prosthetics to make his head bigger, that they changed. So they had to reshoot some stuff. See, that's the kind of stuff you really got to have your ducks in a row. And like I said in the non-spoiler, Giancarlo Esposito is so good at everything he does. So every scene in this movie with Sidewinder should have been. I mean, it was all great, but he should have had more time. Giancarlo Esposito is a really good actor. He only had 3 scenes in this movie. A couple of them were badass. Don't get me wrong. Like the scene in that where he's having that firefight with Sam was great. But man, such a great talent gone to waste in my opinion. It sucks. The last actor I wanted to discuss is Danny Ramirez playing Joaquin Torres. I don't know how I feel about this character. He kind of reminds me of Antonio Banderas' character in Expendables 3, where he's right on the tip, right on the edge of being annoying. And for some people, he's gonna jump into being annoying like he already is annoying, and for others, they're okay with it. I just felt he was right on that edge, and I don't think he was that effective as a sidekick for Falcon. I think, if you want me to be honest, I think this movie may have worked a little bit better if, and again, you have to make changes to actually make this work, but if this were a Falcon and Winter Soldier movie, where it's Sam as Captain America, and then Bucky's actually, he's going to be in Thunderbolts. I mean, he's got a lead role there, but Bucky's actually working with him on this mission. I think that may have been more effective than just introducing the new Falcon. The gadgets and the gizmos, you are going to have to suspend your disbelief. He's able to use the shield as if he took the super soldier serum, but he didn't. And the way he uses the shield in many ways defies the laws of physics. And it's a thing where reading the comics, it's fine because it's a comic book. Seeing it in a movie, like at this point, because this is the 4th Captain America movie, and I'm not even including the stuff that Captain America did in other movies like the Avengers films, I'm kind of used to the shield just doing whatever it wants. But then you've also got Falcon's like wings, and I'm watching it and I'm seeing him do all these cool moves with the wings and with the shield, and I'm like, how is he able to control all of that? And I'm guessing, and I could be wrong, I'm guessing it's going to be kind of like Doc Ock with the tentacles, where it's almost like the device is linked to his brain. So all Sam has to do is think, and then the wings do whatever he wants. That's the way I'm perceiving it. That was interesting. Now, the Tiamat thing with Adamantium, you know, they're kind of swapping vibranium and adamantium a bit in this universe, and that's okay. But I like that they finally were able to introduce adamantium. Now, that is not how adamantium was introduced in some of the other Marvel adaptations and not in the comics. Adamantium was man-made. It wasn't just a part of the Celestials' armor. But it makes sense because clearly, like, that's going to come into play later. I feel like there's already rumors and people speculating that Doctor Doom, whenever we get to Doomsday, he may end up creating a piece of armor made of adamantium, you know, and that could make it even more difficult to beat him. So, this introduction of adamantium is not going to end with this movie. Something's got to give. Whether we actually see the Weapon X project or not, that remains to be seen. But the ore existing in the MCU now can bring to life a lot of characters that we didn't think would ever be around. At least not for a while, right? Anthony Mackie tried so hard, man. He deserved better. He was really, the movie has a meta message about like replacing Steve Rogers, and there's multiple, I don't think it was hammered home as strongly as it should have been, but there's multiple lines in the film about Sam not being Steve Rogers, and he kind of has to make his own, history. There's a beautiful scene, the one with Bucky, where he tells him like, yeah, Captain America gave people hope, but you gave them something to aspire to, something like that. Basically, the idea being that Falcon, well, Captain America now, Sam is just a regular guy, no mutant powers, no gamma radiation, no super soldier serum. He's just a guy with technology who trains with it and became a hero and became Captain America. And that's inspiring to a lot of people that an average guy, without even taking the super soldier serum, could become Captain America. That's a good story. That is a good message. I just don't think it was hammered home hard enough. I really don't. I really don't believe that to be the case. So Harrison Ford did great. I mentioned that. Again, the movie's a one and done, yo. Like I didn't think it was the worst thing ever. I liked a lot of the scenes. It's just it's not a movie that I'm excited to go back and revisit. You know what I mean? I wasn't particularly bored by it. It just didn't really connect with me the way I wanted it to. And the Falcon and Winter Soldier show, I still think, is probably better at showcasing Sam as the hero than this was. And you would think this would be the cherry on top of the ice cream sundae because it's a movie. They also teased that they want him to bring back the Avengers. So I wonder where that's going to go. Now, speaking of, well, I wonder where that's going to go, the end credit scene. So there's no mid credit scene, but there's an end credit scene where the leader tells Sam that there's people coming from other worlds. Now, I'm not sure if he's referring to Kang because there's been talk of Majors coming back to play Kang and wrapping up the character. If he's talking about Doctor Doom, if he's talking about the Fantastic Four, or maybe somebody else, maybe something involving Doctor Strange. But the leader's super intelligence has led him to believe that this world, he basically tells Sam there's a lot more to the universe than just this world, which obviously Sam knows because he was right there on the front lines fighting, in Civil War, and he got snapped by Thanos, but I mean, he's been right in the thick of things. But yeah, so he basically warned Sam that of what's called the others. That's the word he used, the others. But he didn't specify who. So I guess we'll see. Anyways, man, like I said, for most of you guys, if you're trying to save some money, might be best to just wait for Disney Plus. It'll probably be on there within, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, maybe more than that, maybe 12 weeks. But it won't be that long. I don't think it's a must see. Whereas there's probably other movies coming out, like the Thunderbolts trailer looks great, and Fantastic Four, that those might end up being, especially Fantastic Four, because that's the kickoff of Phase 6. Those might end up being, probably will end up being much more important in the grand scheme of things. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think down in the comments below.